So today we're going to be talking about remote real estate investing and how it's not only possible, but it is necessary in today's real estate economy. First of all, why is it even necessary to start thinking or considering how to be investing in real estate remotely? First things first, if you're a Canadian and you are living in Canada and you're looking at the local market and thinking, okay, how can I start buying properties over here? You might be thinking, okay, it's actually very challenging and it might not be as conducive to what it is that I'm looking for. So how are you even supposed to break into the market? And remote real estate investing, it sounds a little bit challenging. You know, there's a lot of hurdles that you're going to have to overcome. Like you might be looking at it and thinking, okay, well, I can't go to the property if something goes wrong. Real estate is a tangible asset. What happens if there's something there that I don't know? And if I hire a property manager, how can I trust them? If my cousin's not around, who am I going to send over? You know, there's all these things. And that's why a lot of people feel comfortable doing real estate investing somewhere that is kind of like in arm's length, which is fine. But the thing is that if you live in an area that is pretty decent, chances are things around you are kind of expensive. So, I mean, even if you're going to drive 1 hour, 2 hours away, it's probably still going to be relatively pricey. The truth is, the sweet spot in terms of where you're really able to buy property that is going to properly facilitate or augment your lifestyle is when you're starting to buy things that are hours away, days away, things that you're not going to reach in a short drive. And, you know, for us in Canada, we're actually used to some pretty crazy drives. Like, you know, some of us are comfortable driving for 4 hours in traffic just to go to our jobs. So, you know, having to go 8-10 hours for an investment property, a good investment property, that's not even that crazy, but it is. So if we're talking real estate investing, truth is that if you can get comfortable buying a property that is even an hour away and not feeling like you have to go to it, and you can just figure out the acquisition process, you now unlock a whole new level of real estate investing that you have at your fingertips. And when I say at your fingertips, I literally mean bust out your computer, start searching in different cities, all the cities, and find a property that actually meets your needs. Because sometimes when people look at real estate, they start to think, okay, what can I afford? What can I buy? And then they kind of just take what they can get instead of looking at what is the asset that they need. Now, yes, I do think that you should always buy what you can afford, but you don't need to shortchange yourself and limit your options, right? Like, what is the difference between buying a property in another province and then that you're never going to go to versus buying a property in another country like the States? And I know we've been talking about that, but really the question still stands, what's the difference? Not too much. And for any of you that don't know and are thinking, well, actually, can I even buy property in the States? Yes, you can. You can buy property in the States. You can get everything set up. You can get mortgages. You can own property. You can do all that. If you want to know more about that, click on the link below. You can join our community, ask other questions. We'll be happy to help you because we've been doing this for a while. But without digressing and going back to overcoming the hurdles of remote real estate investing, the things that usually you're lacking have a lot to do with network connections and a few other things. And I want you to understand one main principle here. You need to understand that the solution to almost all of your problems is usually a phone call or two away. I want to tell you a very quick story so you can understand what I mean, where the punchline is essentially going to be the less capable you believe you are, the better you will be at delegating or doing things from afar. The more you believe in your own physical abilities to do something, the more limited you are. You know, when I was working construction, my dad was managing the business and he would always, in my opinion, slow things down. He was a really great salesperson and he had a lot of knowledge, but he wasn't the most organized person. But one day he hurt his back and he wasn't able to come to the job and do a bunch of things. And he was forced to start to write things down, make a plan, and get organized. And the truth is that during that period of time, all of the jobs went very smoothly because he was calling and staying on top of things because he wasn't able to physically go and do everything himself. So he had to delegate. And the truth is, things were going very well during that period of time. Now, the same would apply to almost anybody else who wants to do this in real estate. What is it that you need? You need a property manager, you need a realtor, you need a mortgage person, you need a few specialist trades, which you will probably be able to get from a contractor, and maybe have the contacts of a few neighbors. And by the way, here's a pro tip if you're looking to get more of the management stuff in order. If you're looking at a property that you want to buy and you want to know, hey, can I find somebody who can do work? A great way to approach this is by joining multiple Facebook groups in the area that you're looking and message some of the handymen and just ask them questions. questions like, hey, I'm looking at buying this property. Would you be interested to do a repair? They'll probably say, yeah, I know that property. Oh, what's it like? And you'll start to figure all these things out. Arguably, it might require a little more work, okay? But the thing is that we're talking about making some compromises, some concessions, and you're able to trade things off for the real prize here, which in most of these situations is positive cash flow. If you're in the Canadian market and you're trying to find property that's going to cash flow positive, the truth is you can't buy it. You have to build it. And if you don't have deep enough pockets or the skill sets to actually make that happen, you need to find somewhere where you can buy it. So the truth is that today, certain economies just don't support being able to buy positive cash flow properties anymore. It's just not really a thing. You need to look further away. And this is why we've been looking in the States, is because it does actually make sense. And the truth is that there are a ton of ways that you're able to make this happen using a variety of tools. Just using your computer today, you're able to find off-market properties in the States. You're able to find contact information of homeowners so that you can ask them whether or not they're interested in selling their property. I mean, that's invasive, but you're able to do that. Like in the States, you're able to do a variety of things just from your computer, from your phone even, right? You're able to contact a bunch of people, right? You're able to find off-market properties quite easily. There's a ton of realtors for you to call who all have their own connections and pocket listings. There's a lot more creative financing options, which by the way, in the States, if you're looking to get financing on a property, you're able to find lenders who will look at the property and the property performance rather than looking at you and your income. And that in itself is a big deal. How much do you have to earn to buy a $1.5 million home in Toronto? A lot. And the States, to be honest, while we're talking about it, is actually the easier place to start. We're not even talking yet about moving on to other places. How many times have you gone to a real estate conference and heard people talking about, oh, I'm investing in Costa Rica? But really, you're just like, I want to be investing in Costa Rica too. But how are you going to be able to get the nerve to do that if you're not even able to invest into the cheap properties that are only realistically, they still are a 5-6 hour drive away if you want to go into some of these places. But once you bridge that comfort level, you're now able to invest into a variety of different properties in more interesting places. And some of these places is not like how sometimes you'll see this random property in Canada that has a weirdly large amount of units and can potentially rent for a pretty decent rent price, but then you look it up and you find out it's in absolutely the middle of nowhere. There's no infrastructure over there, and that tenancies are actually quite hard to get. When you start looking a little further away and you get comfortable buying and building out your power team and start making these connections, like hell, honestly, even if you just decided that you wanted to visit one of these places once, go on a vacation to one of these places, scope it out, rent a car, drive around, do it as a couple, make it an excursion. You're going to have a great time and you're going to learn a lot, and you just go there once. You just need to use your computer to look at these properties and then just go and take a look at them once if you really need to. Honestly, it'll change your life. Truth is, I've been doing real estate investing for so long now. I've been doing this for over 18 years. I have experienced wholesaling, I've experienced house flipping, I've experienced burring properties, and I was burring properties before it was called burring properties. And we're managing a rental portfolio of nearly 800 tenancies. So we've done a lot of stuff. And I can tell you with confidence, once you've seen some of this stuff, it actually gets quite repetitive. Houses look the same. The way they build them throughout most of North America is more or less the same. The tenant profiles will vary a little bit, but honestly, the problems are still the same. And once you learn how to deal with one of them remotely, you pretty much know how to deal with all of them. And when you remove yourself from the equation and you start finding other people to handle the problems for you, that is where you really start to grow, scale, and most importantly, you stop limiting yourself. Like honestly, my perspective has changed considerably from the point that I realized that I was my own biggest limitation. I always considered myself quite capable, able to do a lot of things myself, and I would go and do a lot of things myself. And the truth is, if you're that type of person, I understand. I respect the mindset of getting things done yourself. However, you need to understand that there's a time and place for it, and the time for doing things yourself should be better placed with the people that matter. You don't want to be buying real estate locally where it's going to cost you your time, your energy, your mental space, where you're no longer finishing your work and going home to spend time with your family. You're now going to go take care of your rental property. If you just buy in a market that actually makes sense, you can afford to hire a property management and the professionals you need to deal with the problems. And that is the way it's supposed to be. So do not limit yourself to your local markets. Expand your mind, expand your horizons, expand your markets, and you will become a better real estate investor. If you want to know more about how to do this, definitely get in touch with us. In the meantime, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and I will see you on the next one.